if you all are not on your spiritual journey, go ahead and check out some of the other videos that I have. However, if you're ready to hear about my specific spiritual journey, then here we go. 2022 lessons learned. Hello, it is Patrick Tycoon Jones here. Just want to say I am so glad to be back. It has been an extremely long time since we've actually shot, but we're here on set and ready to bring you 2022 lessons learned. Now, 2022 lessons learned, it was definitely a formative spiritual journey. So I am extremely excited about sharing this with you all. I feel as though it's going to reach out and touch many of you. However, if you all are not on your spiritual journey, go ahead and check out some of the other videos that I have. However, if you're ready to hear about my specific spiritual journey, then here we go. 2022 lessons learned. You know what to do. Get your pens, your pads, your paper, your electronics, whatever it is that you're taking notes on, because it is about to go down. Number one, numero uno, you can't have good without bad. Now, what that meant to me, there were a bunch of different trials and tribulations. It was more of a spiritual and mental scenario. And one thing that I found out, this too shall pass. So when you're going through it, you're in the thick of it, right? From a spiritual perspective, from a mental perspective, you're trying to figure it all out. We don't have all of the answers, and that is okay. And that's one thing, especially if you like controlling things, right? A healthy control, not a negative control, but if you like to know where you're going, if you write your goals down, if you're goal oriented, right? And you're working towards those goals, then of course you want to see the progression, right? And if you're not necessarily seeing that progression, you may get out of whack, right? Some of you may hit the gym, which is healthy. You know, some of you may not do healthy things, but whenever you're going through the bad, you should understand this too shall pass. And once it passes, and if you stay diligent, and if you stay down, right? And if you stay with forward momentum in progress, then the bad shall pass to the positive, to the good. And then once the good gets there, then you shall also understand you're going to ride that wave, and there's going to be another trial, there's going to be another tribulation that comes. And what you really need to prepare yourself for is the negative that comes, right? So you can understand that there's going to be beauty that comes from that negative situation, that negative mental state that you may be in, that negative spiritual state that you may be in. So understand, you cannot have good without the bad. That's just a law, that's a principle. And you have to expect both, right? You have to expect the good, you have to expect the bad. And this is where, folks, you really get battle tested, okay? This is where the test comes, and this is where it levels you up to the good, right? That you're calling into your life. So just understand that. That's number one. You cannot have the good without the bad. The test will come in. They're going to, and you need to be prepared for it. Okay, folks? Number two, having a spiritual relationship is more important than anything. Now, this is where you get your spiritual guidance from. This is where you may go to church. You may connect with different people to where you're talking about positive things. Wherever you get your spiritual guidance and you build upon your spiritual relationship, for me, it is church, right? I like to go to church. I even get into like a Bible study sometimes. And that is good spiritual food for me, right, to consume. If you follow my social media, my Instagram, you'll see Sundays, sometimes even Fridays, I'm tapped in spiritually. And that's where I get my nourishment from, right? But that's one thing that I was lacking. I really got into it in 2022. There was a very important person that said, you know what? You're doing well in business. You're doing well in all these other categories of your life. Why don't you try God? Why don't you try going back to church? And you know what? That person will have a forever lasting impact on my life. I greatly appreciate that person. You know who you are. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I learned a ton from you, and you will never be forgotten, point blank, period. And you will forever hold a special part in my heart from the day you had entered my life to I take my last breath. So want to say thank you very much. But back to the topic at hand, having a spiritual relationship is more important than anything, right? It right-sized me. It got me to a situation, kind of a mental state to where everything else that's coming my way, positive and or negative, I now know that I can go through it and I can grow through it. And that's extremely important, folks. You want to go through your trials and tribulations. You want to grow through your trials and tribulations. And no, folks, we're not perfect. So we're not going to always say the right thing. We're not going to always make the right decision. But if you're rooted in something that's greater than you will have spiritual guidance, and you can tap into that when the going gets tough, folks. Okay. So that is number 2. Number 3, the longer the test lasts, the bigger the blessing that's coming. So whenever you're asking to level up, right, there's going to be that trial, there's going to be that tribulation. And I know this holds true in my life. Anytime that I leveled up financially, anytime I leveled up from a title perspective or from a business perspective, there was always a trial. When I embarked on this whole journey, when it comes to social media, shooting my content. So I got through a couple of videos and boom, there was a massive trial. There was a massive tribulation. I got through it. I grew through it. And that was part of also my spiritual journey as well. That test got me on this spiritual journey, got me connected with new people, right, that have my best interest at hand. And as a result, I'm extremely thankful for it. But you should know, the longer and the bigger the test, the bigger the blessing is, no matter how you look at it. There's this cliche saying, if you're going through hell, don't stop there, right? You can't stop there. You need to keep going, because once you keep going, you're going to get out of it. And again, the theme here is this too shall pass. So if you are going through hell, you are feeling these negative emotions, right? You are being tested, right? You're in the midst of a battle. You should understand that this too shall pass, and there can't be sunshine without rain, right? There can't be night without morning. So at the end of the day, the sun is going to shine on you no matter how you look at it. You just have to go through it, folks, and be steadfast, stay down, understand that positive is coming. There's no other way, right? You can't stay in a negative state forever. There must be positive, okay? So just keep that in mind. Number 4, there is a blessing in every lesson. So if you choose to take the good out of the bad, in the midst of the bad, there's silver lining. And if you're not picking up on the silver lining, then guess what? You're doing yourself, you're doing your family a great disservice. You're doing your mental state, your spiritual state, a great disservice. We must know, in anything negative, there's always something positive to take away from it. And if you're not retaining that positive, then we can't grow, right? You see these plants behind me. They grow. Every time I feed it with water, right? I'm feeding the plants. Every time I'm opening up the shades and giving it sunshine, I'm feeding the plants. I'm giving it the nutrients that it needs to grow, right? And some of the nutrients that you need to grow are just sitting down with yourself, your pen, your pad, your thoughts, and understanding the lesson and the blessing within that lesson. understand it, right? Write it down. Because that is then going to be the theme song of your life, of how you make decisions, of how you navigate yourself, on how you handle things. So it would be a great shame if you did not take the blessing out of the lesson, right? And you did not create kind of your theme music in your soundtrack to your own life, to your own trials, to your own tribulations. So that is a must, folks. That's how we grow, okay? Number 5, do the work, not only mentally, but spiritually and physically. So there's gonna come a time, folks, where you're like, uh-oh, there's a massive roadblock. And this massive roadblock is gonna cause you to grow. You're gonna have to make a decision, okay? And that decision is going to weigh heavily on your mental, your spiritual, and sometimes even your physical, okay? So if you don't have those 3 in check, then there's gonna be something that falters. There's gonna be something that is now kind of fallen by the wayside. So one thing that I like to do, folks, is I like to align my mental, my spiritual, and my physical. Now, how do I do that? From a mental perspective, yes, I'm journaling. And that's something that I just got into, just journaling my thoughts. Why is that important? Because it allows me, and my brain thinks 100 miles per hour. So all of my tycoons out there, if your brain's, constantly going and turning 100 miles per hour, you may feel kind of like that hamster on a hamster wheel. And you're like, geez, I just can't wait to lay down at night so everything is calm. But guess what I do? I now journal. And now I'm kind of categorizing my thoughts. And now I'm able to categorize the lessons. And now I'm able to see things clearer, right? The way I handle things is a bit more calm and collected, smooth, suave, if you will. I like that word, anyways. And then now spiritually, what am I doing to align with my mental? Well, spiritually, like I said, I've engaged in church. That's beneficial for me, right? I've connected myself with the higher power. That's beneficial to me, right? My faith and spiritual align. So now I have my mental in check. Now I have my spiritual in check. Now my physical. What am I doing? I'm hitting the gym, right? I'm hitting the gym 5 to 6 times a week. What does that do? That helps with my mental, which then helps with my spiritual, and everything aligns. And I don't stop there. In my house, everything is extremely clean, organized, right? I don't have clutter. In my car, everything is clean, organized, smelling good. I don't have clutter. In my office, everything is clean. There's no clutter. In my closet, everything is clean. There's no clutter. Why is that, folks? Because how you live is a direct reflection on what's going on in here. Your thoughts, what you think of yourself. Is your house your kingdom? If I want to come over to your house right now, would you feel good? Or would you have to say, you know what? Wait, give me about 30 minutes. I need to clean up. If I have to step into your car, right? Would you be like, oh, no, give me a couple of seconds, just stay in here, take your time, because I need to tidy up? Or is it on point, ready to rock and roll for whatever company comes your way, right? That's how you should live, tycoons. Be ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, right? So stay ready, folks. Number 6, learn from your mistakes. Growth is a necessity of life. Again, I'll repeat that. Learn from your mistakes, and growth is a necessity of life. So if you're not learning from your mistakes, then that means you have to repeat your mistakes again. That means you have to repeat the cycle again. That means you can't grow from your mistakes because you haven't learned from that vicious cycle that you're in. Now, folks, I'm going to right size you here. The mistakes might be how you're dealing with your children. The mistakes might be how you're dealing with your significant other, your husband, your wife, your partner. The mistakes might be how you deal with just people in the world, right? Your mistakes that you need to grow from might be what you're doing in the dark. Your mistakes might be that spirit in the bottle. Your mistakes might be that drug dependency that you're on, right? Your mistakes might be right there, right in front of you, and you're not understanding it because you're so used to making it. You're in the comfort zone now, and now you can't make a tough decision to say, you know what? I'm gonna stop that dependency. I'm gonna learn from my mistake. And now I'm in growth mode because that is a necessity of life, okay? So if you're in a vicious cycle, if you haven't learned from it, time to prop yourself up. It's time to learn from that. And it's time to grow, right? It's time to move on. You have to, tycoons. If you're tapped into the tycoon frequency, then it's time to grow. Number 7, be thankful for the people God put in front of you. That's extremely important because those people are choosing you daily. They're choosing you. They're choosing you, okay? Know that, respect that, understand that, because we're all God's children no matter how you look at it. So understand that. If there's a person in your life, boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, partner, husband, wife, and you're taking them for granted, then you need to check yourself. And now it's time for you to look yourself in the mirror and figure out how you can course correct that, right? Because the worst thing is to have someone that's an angel in your life and you sabotage it, right? Or you don't respect it. Or you're still in a mental state where you are trying to figure it out. And while you're trying to figure it out, you're breaking them down, okay? So understand, to have a tightly knit circle, that's a blessing. But moreover, to have people that choose you every day, that's a blessing as well. So never take those individuals for granted, okay? Because what comes into your life, what chooses you, can easily leave, right? So if that happens, then what? Then what are you gonna do? Who's got your back then? So be careful of the people that you take for granted. Just know that. That's extremely important. Be careful of the people you take for granted. Because sometimes the people that take you for granted, once you're removed from their life, they realize, oh wow, this person really did do a lot for me. Oh wow, this person wasn't the problem, it was me. Oh wow, I didn't have my stuff in order, right? And then next thing you know, you see the glow up, as we call it, right? So it's either you glowing up or the person you took for granted glowing up. But at the end of the day, they'll feel the impact. And you don't want to be the individual that feels that impact. So be thankful for those people and don't take them for granted. Next, never be too high and never be too low, okay? That's when it comes to success. That's when it comes to your trials and tribulations, right? When you're successful and you're at the peak and you're doing your thing and money's flowing, good vibrations flowing, don't forget who helped you get there, the higher power. Don't forget that. And be humble enough to understand that it's not because of you, it's flowing through you and to you. A lot of people make the grave mistake of thinking that it's them. It's me, right? I'm self-made. I used to say that all the time, folks. And now I'm giving you some insight on me. I used to think that I was self-made. Oh, I'm self-made. It's because of me. I'm successful because of me. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. It's because of the higher power. Now, it's also because the higher power opens the doors and I'm walking through those doors and I'm doing what it takes. I'm making sure that I'm prepared, right? I'm staying consistent. I'm staying down. I'm continuously doing things, that I know I should be doing, even though I don't feel like doing, right? Dedication. I'm sacrificing as well. A lot of people don't understand what sacrifice is. Being comfortable is not sacrifice, folks. Sacrifice is when you're uncomfortable. You're in the grit. You're in the thick of things, right? You have to operate on faith because you don't know what's coming next, right? All you can do and think of is what's to come, right? That's what the faith is. You can see it, but it's not here yet in the physical plane, right? It's in the metaphysical. And you have to stay diligent, stay disciplined, work hard, sacrifice, maybe go without eating, right? Maybe go without sleeping in order to get you to where you need to be and maintain your faith as well, okay? So never be too high, never be too low. When you're going through it, never be too low. Never be too low, because that's not a positive thing, because we get into depression, and then depression leads to other things. And you just have to create that boundary of not going to go too high. I'm not going to go too low. I'm going to stay right there, even keel. Okay? That's a good place to operate. And next, keep the main thing the main thing. Whatever your focus is, stick with that focus. Okay? Whatever your goal is, stick to that goal. Don't let outside interruption and interferences come in and knock you off your square and or knock you off of your position. Stay committed, right? Stay disciplined. If you have to sacrifice, sacrifice. Because on the other side of sacrifice is nothing but beauty. Okay? But moreover, keep the main thing the main thing. And when you do that, you keep your spirituality, God first, the main thing. Everything else will come, okay? So, you know what I say, folks? Lock in with me because you know I'm locked in with you. And if you're not following me on Instagram, my Instagram is Patrick Tycoon Jones. And please lock in there. You know what to do. Send this video to someone who needs the Tycoon knowledge. But more importantly, be safe out there. Stay blessed. Until we meet again, folks. Take care.